Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. So at the time of shooting this video I have 18 subscribers and I want to thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, and so I wanted to give you guys a get to know me so you can get more acquainted with me and what kind of community I'm trying to build. To do this, I went to ChatGPT and just basically asked for a bunch of questions that I thought would be helpful, and I divided that into 4 categories. And without wasting much time, I would just like to get straight into it. So as I said, we have 4 categories, and then in each category I will have 2 questions. So number 1, we have soft and soulful, and the first question is, what's something I've unlearned in the past year? So off the top of my head, I would basically say that I think what I have unlearned this past year is that the way my hair basically exists is unkempt. I think growing up there was just so much criticism around me concerning my very kinky hair, and so I've become more accepting of the way my hair exists, and not necessarily thinking of it as messy. As long as I'm using the right products and taking care of my hair, I think that's okay, and that's what matters. I think the other thing I might say I have unlearned to just throw in there is the need for validation. I think for a long time I just really tried to fit in, and therefore I had this bad habit of always trying to have somebody validate my ideas or like comment them, and I think I'm beginning to sort of stray away from that and just letting curiosity lead. Number 2 is, what's my relationship with time like these days? I think this is a really good question, especially because first I'm in grad school, and then also I have ADHD. So well, I'm learning a lot of things, but I feel that the way society makes it is that you have to have sort of a structure that, you wake up and do this and the next thing and then the next thing and the thing after that. And I have found that that does not work for me. So I tend to think of time as something that's more fluid than more structured as like something like a straight line, or just so linear. So I allow myself to just groove through the day based on how I'm feeling, what excites me that day. So I embrace every day as it comes. I think what I try to stay on top of is my priorities, and one of the most helpful things my partner told me a few days ago is to basically think of it as, when you have to do activities that other people need you to do, think of it as you not doing your job sort of interrupts their schedule. So I wake up and try to do like my priorities, but everything else that's just my work is basically curiosity led. So we'll move on to the next category, which is creative and personal. How do I create when I'm not feeling inspired? Another really good question. Of course, I chose these questions because I thought they were all fantastic. One of the reasons why I thought this was a good question was because I'm a writer. And actually, I changed my career as an adult to writing, and one of the things that I have learned as someone who is very introspective and intuitive is that inspiration does not precede action. You have to act and then feel inspired. So basically, um, I let curiosity lead. I don't try to like create perfect work. You know, you cannot create before creating. So one of my previous habits was overthinking my writing in my head before writing it, and then whenever I write, editing it to like pieces and just never moving on. I think that's really destructive because you learn in the process of doing, and you cannot write before you actually write, or rather you cannot create before creating. So what I do is I just pay attention. So I wake up and then I start doing my morning chores, grooming and stuff. And in the process of doing that, I'm warming up my brain and just allowing my brain to stew over, like ruminate over what I'm doing. And then I find inspiration there. I don't think of inspiration that's as something that's far removed from me. I try to think that at every given moment I have everything that I need to create. So just slow down, pay attention, be present. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was what? How do I create when I'm not feeling inspired? Oh yeah. Stop putting things in a box before you create them. So let's say I'm working on my thesis right now. I don't start from the process of, well, I have a scaffold, but I don't know what goes on there. So what goes in there. So I allow myself to write what I'm feeling, and then I'm gonna figure out the pieces later, because I have found that without knowing, sometimes things actually just come together. So I'm obsessed with action more than anything, just having fun with the process and writing and believing that things will come together. That's kind of how I go about it. Excuse me. So question number 2, how do I connect with myself when I feel lost? I think first I would like to define lost, like what I think lost means to me. And basically it is being stuck. I hadn't realized I say basically as much as I do shooting this video. Anyway, feeling lost to me is a feeling of being stuck. So maybe a writer's block, reading block, whatever. As I said, I don't believe in inspiration, so even when I'm stuck, one of the things I do is always keeping in motion. So I do a lot of other like creative arts just because I like to model the process of writing with something more tangible. So if I'm stuck in one way or another, I can always go bake, go to a jewelry studio, plant, do gardening. You know, I actually even got a sewing machine. But other than that, I find meditation to be very helpful. I try to play the same playlist over and over every morning just to speak over my day and to send myself like positive thoughts, or like tune my brain to having positive thoughts. And also I listen to other creators who have adopted the kind of lifestyle I have, which is just being flow based and being curious, and just having them help me with my process. So there is this creator called Danielle Lynn that I really like. You guys should check her out. And what I really like about her is that on her YouTube videos, at the end she does an exercise to help you get unstuck from whatever it is that you're feeling that you're stuck from if you connect to her work. You can go check her out, and if you like her, make sure to come back and tell me that you actually liked her. Yeah, I think that's about it. I also like going out in nature, hiking. I like doing challenging things, and to also just remind me of the fact that, the journey is just ups and downs. I just also thought of something else which is really important, which is I'm the kind of person that believes that life happens for me, not to me. So I tend to believe, even during the times when I have the down times, or when I feel lost, it's not out of sync with what I should be experiencing. So it's also just paying attention and realizing, okay, I'm going through this. What am I supposed to be learning through this process, and just slowing down as, my routine and body and whatever feels like. The next category we have reflective and grounded. And the first question is, let's see, what's something I used to chase that no longer feels important? Maybe I would say employment. I mean, I finished undergrad in 2018, and I had an opportunity to work for 5 years before I proceeded to grad school. And I had some amazing bosses, some not very amazing. But all in all, that experience taught me that I wanted to do work that I felt was truly aligned with my purpose and who I am. But also, I just didn't like the idea of just being free, just public holidays, living a predictable life when I'm so young. I wanted to explore and have more creative autonomy and just do whatever I thought was enjoyable for me. So that's what's up. Number 2 is, what's a fear I'm gently working through? I would say for me is the fear of lack. I mean, I didn't grow up with plenty, and so I think I was already sort of socially conditioned to be afraid and have a scarcity mentality, and just always be super afraid. And even though I have walked this journey of living a flow-based life, where I have seen that when I'm walking on my path, everything just falls into place, there are times when I don't actually see the things that I want, which means that sometimes I have to sort of walk by faith, and in those moments it's not easy to have a still heart. So I'm still learning to be more trusting of my journey and to open up myself and stuff. So that's, I think, one of the things that comes up on top of my mind when I think about a fear that I'm working through. And we are doing the last category, which is honest and open-ended. And the first question is, what am I currently exploring or questioning? So with this question, I will just talk about my thesis project, which is called Inheritance, and it's a creative writing project. It's a poetry collection, and basically what it does, it investigates the psychological impact of colonial violence and how that trauma is passed down through generations. It's kind of interesting. Maybe in the future I will share more with you guys. Why did I start this channel is the last question. So actually I've always just wanted to do YouTube, and I've tried before, but I mean, as I said, one of the things that I'm learning is the need for validation and also the need for perfection. So yeah, I wanted to sort of challenge myself. I knew I wanted to come back to it and just get into it without judging myself too much and just allowing myself to grow with it. But I've also been learning too much, I think, for the last sort of 3 years that I think would be helpful for other people during these crazy times that we live in, and I wanted to be able to share that as well. I feel like it's a challenge from the universe that I needed to take up and see how it goes. And then I think the last thing is just how it happened. It was like totally a coincidence. If you have seen my first video, I just went out to chill at a spring and listen to the water, which is one of the things that I have learned to do. When I first went to a river, I didn't know what to do, but just sitting there and listening, and the peace of it, and just letting the river speak to you was so profound. And so I thought I wanted to share that, and I mean, I just found myself doing this. I don't know, let's just see how it goes. Yeah, that's about it. I think maybe I could do a bonus question, which might be, if I could tell my followers one thing, what would it be? And I think the answer to that, which I'm currently learning, is fight for your focus. Be aware of where your attention is going to. We tend to think of currency as money, but the reality is whatever you put your focus in is what creates value for you. And you don't want people just hijacking your focus with like attention anyhow. So just being more present and like more aware. I guess that's it. I mean, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming so far. Please subscribe if you thought this was useful and you would like to hear more from me. Please like this video, leave me a comment. You can ask me more questions if you'd like to know me more, and share with your friends, and let's grow together. Grow together, I mean. See you on the next one. Bye. Lifting you up so you won't be raised.